Hi, Bexy. Good to have you on the interview, and thank you very much for for agreeing to do it. I think it's been a busy couple of months, for you, and in varying different award ceremonies. Actually, we can see them all up in the background behind you there. And what ones are up there now? It seems to be growing from Women in Defence and some others as well.
Yeah, there's the MSAN, so the Nuclear Cogent Skills Awards as well. I was a finalist for that one.
Amazing. And then the Women in Defence particular one, do you want to kind of take us through a bit on that? Obviously, we've spoken about it a lot before, and it sounds like a really good experience. But it'd be fantastic to hear about the award and certainly what your experience was with that.
Yeah, so Optima actually nominated me for the award in the first place, which was really, really kind of them. And I think I ended up getting 4 nominations, which just shows how supportive everyone is, I guess. And it was a real surprise anyway. And then there was the shortlisting. So I think they said they got over 530 nominations across the 10 different categories, which is the highest they've ever got. And the awards have been running 5 years now. So then there was a shortlisting ceremony. So it was always an event, like they made sure that they made you feel special at like every milestone. So that was really nice. And then there was the finalists were announced. And originally the award ceremony was meant to be in November, but obviously COVID stopped that. And so they moved it to March in the hopes that we would have it in person still. And obviously couldn't do that. So it was virtually, but it was still really fun and really professional. There was even a member of the royal family there presenting one of the awards, and a radio presenter hosting it with Angela Owens. So it was really professionally run and really special night.
And well, I mean, the award that you won, what introduces, what do you go through?
Yeah, so I got nominated for the STEM in Defence Award, and that's because in March of 2020, I launched my science YouTube channel called Science with Bexy. And I basically started this because I was working away at the time. And so I was spending 2 nights a week in a hotel by myself. And I was thinking, how could I use this time positively rather than just sitting in a hotel room and watching TV, I guess. So I started thinking of things that I'm passionate about. And obviously one of them is STEM, communicating STEM, representing STEM, all of that. So on one of my many drives, I was thinking, how can I make a difference? How can I use these 2 evenings a week to make a positive impact? And I thought, YouTube, it's kind of a worldwide communication channel where I could not just go into a school and present to a group of students, I could present to anyone in the world, essentially. So I started, I guess, rolling with this idea and thinking up, how would I do it? And I decided to base all my videos on curriculum topics. I decided to specialize in physics because that was my degree. So I guess a couple of months of thinking about it and doing some trial run episodes, I launched my channel. And now I think there's about 65 different videos on there. It's gone pretty well and everyone has enjoyed it so far, which is really good.
Yeah, no, and I think it's such a good way to take something that you're clearly really passionate about, your background. And I imagine, especially as home tutoring came through last year as well, actually probably just something quite nice for parents to be able to put in front of the kids and not, maybe not quite as dry as what they might have been getting, from other platforms, of course. So I think obviously, again, we've spoken about it a bit and your trajectory and where your passion came from. And I think, if we go right back to let's say the beginning of the journey, or certainly your university journey, tell me a bit about that and why you chose to go down the STEM route.
Yeah, so when I was at school and I was told to pick A levels, I was really heavily advised by my parents and by teachers, if you can, take a STEM subject as just your chosen STEM subject because it shows, variety. And I clearly had no idea what I wanted to do because the A levels I chose was English, PE, business, and physics. And physics was just my chosen subject because I found it the most interesting. And actually at GCSEs, I got the same grade across all of them. So it didn't really matter which one I picked. So it wasn't until my first term of A levels that I realised that I was actually okay at physics. So that was a shock to start with. And after that, it was a series of really, I guess, important decisions that were made. So I had to sit down with myself and think, do I enjoy physics this much? I'm clearly good at it, doing well at it. Because if I want to pursue it at uni, obviously I need maths as an A level. So I had a good think about it, and I asked my physics teacher at the time, and I said, do you think I could do this at uni? And thankfully, he said yes, and he encouraged me. I'm well aware that there's so many females that could have been in that position, and their teacher could have discouraged them from taking it. Even my parents were fully supportive. And there's so many people that all it would have taken is one comment or one kind of unsupportive, important person in my life that I probably wouldn't have taken it at uni. So yeah, I then decided to take physics at university, which meant having to drop one of my A levels that I had chosen, and I had to teach myself the first term of AS maths over Christmas because I'd obviously missed like 3 or 4 months of the material. So I had to teach myself that over the 2-week Christmas period and come back in January and show the maths department that I had done enough, to catch up, and I wouldn't kind of be a burden on the class. And they accepted that, thankfully, and let me switch out business for maths, and that was it. That was me on the path to taking physics at uni and starting my career as a systems engineer as well.
Yeah, I think you said there, obviously, how important the individuals actually kind of pushing in that direction and being supportive of it as well. And I think it's really good, obviously, that you're in a situation there whereby actually your lecturers and your teachers have been very, if you enjoy it and you're good at it, then we'll absolutely make it happen. And I mean, have you got anything that you potentially, especially at that early age, or not, certainly when you're making those decisions that probably will go on to affect, have you got anything that you'd say to people maybe that weren't as lucky to be in maybe as a supportive in education or like a lecturer, any advice that you would give that you found prior to having those conversations with your lecturers about taking up further science or maths projects?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I was extremely lucky, but if I didn't have that support, it would be really tough to kind of pursue a subject or a direction that not everyone's supported you in. But all you can do is like put in the work. So I will always thought of myself, I was never top of the class, I was never the genius, but I always put in the work and I always turned up. I was probably one of the hardly any students at uni who had 100% attendance to lectures. Turned up to everyone, did every assignment because that's what I had to do to keep up. But I think it's, if you enjoy it, do it, because ultimately you succeed in the subjects that you enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be putting the work in and you're not going to be doing the extracurricular stuff to do with it. And secondly, just put the effort and the work in because you'll reap what you sow, I guess. Yeah,
no, you sort of said I definitely wasn't in quite 100% attendance throughout university, but did you ever kind of feel maybe a bit of a positive pressure on having to almost kind of show show up that bit more and you put that extra effort in to sort of put yourself on a level playing field? Was there ever feeling that that was the case?
Not consciously. I definitely think confidence comes into it, and like self-esteem. I feel like sometimes men can be more confident, even if they don't know everything. Whereas I think, especially for me, I'll get imposter syndrome quite easily, and I had to turn up to have that confidence and faith in myself that I could do it, and I could pursue STEM. So yeah, I think that does come into it.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you obviously clearly did very well. I think looking at where you use that leap pad of coming out of university in a very traditional, or physics certainly, a very traditionally sort of male environment, you're taking up that STEM environment, and then going and actually probably moving into an environment again that was defense. Defense is certainly an area where perhaps there is an underrepresentation. I mean, how did you find that transition coming out of university and into not only a new world of a graduate job, but a new world of a graduate job, and maybe an environment that isn't always as diverse as well?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I was lucky that I did a placement year at uni, so I had that year under my belt prior to graduating and being a graduate. So I'd already kind of experienced it, and yeah, so coming out as a grad from physics into defence, I didn't find it too difficult. I've definitely had a different experience to male engineers, I guess. I've definitely had my fair share of hurdles that I've had to learn how to deal with over time. But if you're in the right company, then they'll be fully supportive. It is scary, I guess, bringing issues up, especially to male line managers. It's awkward and it's difficult, but the more you speak up, I guess, the more change can happen, and the more other people who know that you've spoken up, they'll feel empowered to speak up as well. And generally, like, everyone is really nice, and it's just a cultural change that is happening, and it's nothing personal per se. But yeah, we're definitely going through a cultural change in engineering and defence, and I feel like people like me need to help with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think you're being quite understated of yourself as well. And I think we've spoken about it, that the presenter at the award said this is the time to speak. It's not the time to sit back and actually be really proud of what you've achieved and use that as a real platform to talk about it, really. If you want to do it. And I think obviously the companies that you've perhaps worked within, obviously moving into systems engineering, most people probably not only maybe not going into the STEM categories, but it's like, what is systems engineering within defence? And you've managed to kind of go into that. So, I mean, as a bit of a platform, and what would you say to people that perhaps at college never had heard of these roles, never mind would know what they entail, and how you found moving from what you were studying and then actually using it as a leap and a platform into these more sort of diverse and interesting areas within defence as well?
Yeah, it's actually a real bugbear of mine that, when I was at school anyways, engineering wasn't on the curriculum. So when I was choosing a degree, why on earth, I'm quite a risk averse person, so why on earth would I choose a degree in a subject I've never studied before? And everyone would always say, yeah, you can do engineering if you're good at maths and chemistry. And I was awful at chemistry, so that was not for me. But yeah, I feel like we could really do more to integrate engineering into the curriculum and bring more engineers through. So yeah, I think I was lucky, I guess, that when I was searching for placement years, this systems engineering role came up, and I thought, why not, and just give it a go. And I was lucky enough that I was given training courses on the job, and in my placement year, I think I was on 6 different projects as well. So they kind of dipped me in and out of lots of little projects to get me lots of experience. And I just thought, why wouldn't anyone want to join this field? Because, in this 1 year, I've been on like everything, every different type of technology you can imagine. It's so interesting, submarines, radars, like tanks, so many different technologies, and it's all really exciting. And I think variety is great, and that's what systems engineering and defence has given me. I love the change. I love learning new things, picking up new challenges, and that's all I've ever gotten from this line of work. So yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, I'm very similar. School, college, engineering, maths, chemistry, absolutely not. Did not float with me. And then I think more and more, actually looking around and seeing the day-to-day and kind of working out the engineering behind it. If you could summarize, I guess, your role now very succinctly to you when you were at college, what would you say? What are you, as an intro, this is now what I do?
Yeah, so I am a systems engineering consultant, and I get seconded onto client site to help them apply systems thinking to a complex problem and deliver simplicity in their solution. So, a client will have a really complex system that we have to go in and help them out with, and using systems engineering principles, then deliver a concept or a solution that is simple and can go forward, I guess.
Yeah, as I was saying, yeah, much better description than I could have given. Like it's one of those that it's not spoken about. I can remember one of my friends at university went on to do chemical engineering, and I was like, what does that mean? He was trying to go through it, and I was like, that baffles me, because we did biology and chemistry and whatnot at GCSE, but actually these things aren't never spoken about. So I think it's really good. I think again, it's really good to have a platform where you can speak about that, and especially in Bristol at the moment, there's so many different jobs that are coming through, and actually a real underrepresentation. So it's probably it's really good to hear someone be able to talk about their journey from it. From your experience, I guess, moving from your graduate scheme and into other roles, I think there's been a couple sort of different roles that you've gone into, or certainly a couple of different companies. Could you give maybe a tip or a hint to a company on how to what would have attracted you? How do you attract individuals that are going to have a bit more of a diverse background coming through as well?
Oh, interesting.
Probably a difficult one.
Yeah. I think showing you value your employees is a real big point for me, because you get a lot of companies that maybe just treat you like a statistic, or and I think it's difficult to find a company that treat you like a person. And for me, it's a company that supports you and wants to help push you along. It's a real struggle if you come across a company that doesn't want to progress, doesn't want someone who's ambitious or wants to progress. You want a company that's going to support you, encourage you to do personal development, encourage you to go on to that next stage, and maybe even put you in roles that you're not quite ready for, but you have to get experience in them. And it's, I guess, having that trust, knowing that they trust you, you'll go into a role, and if you struggle, you've got reach back, you can ask the company for help, but at least they want to see what you can do and put you in roles that will stretch you. So I think for me, that's what I value the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like companies that have the parameters in place to be able to perhaps bring someone on board and then test them and challenge them, but also I guess that are willing and open and want to look at, might not be someone that's come from a systems engineering degree, and actually, what, there are relevant skills, and it's about the drive to be able to spin things up. So, I mean, it sounds, well, like a busy 2020, a busy 2021 so far. What's in the pipeline? Is there any more awards or anything that you want to do this year to really help promote, STEM on it as an initial project, but also particularly women in defence? Is there anything that you're looking at that you can use as a platform for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think there's one other award that Optima are going to try and nominate me for, but
let's stay quiet on that one.
I think I just need to keep, what Angela from the Women in Defence Award said was, whatever you did to get to this award ceremony, keep doing it. Keep up the good work, and let this award ceremony be a validation for you that you're doing the right stuff and that what you are doing is worthwhile. Because it takes a lot of time to do all this YouTube channel stuff and make all the videos, and I have taken a break from it the past month or so because everything was so busy, but having recognition like those awards really helps motivate and keep you going, and let you know that you are on the right path and you're doing the right things.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and clearly very much for what is a very young career coming into systems engineering off the bat, and then joining into being not only a job, a very busy day job, but also putting out so much out there. You can see that clearly, hopefully, really make an impact in terms of bringing, women into STEM originally, and then actually promoting that defence is a really interesting, very varied, as you said, environment to move on into roles within. So I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. In a couple of lines, give your top advice to a woman that is looking to come into scientific subjects, or top advice for someone that why defence is a good place to be and maybe not what it's perceived to be.
Yes. Okay. I would say have faith in yourself, because it's very easy to, it's very easy to kind of fade into the background and not have the self-worth, and get that imposter syndrome, go into a room full of so many experts and thinking, am I one of these experts really, kind of thing. And it's having that self-belief that you're there for a reason. If you put the work in, you will achieve what you need to achieve. And if you enjoy it, don't let anything or anyone stand in the way of you doing it.
Yeah, I think that's top advice, and I think that's all we can really hope for, isn't it? It's just, if you want to do it. Don't let things put you off, and don't let the industry put you off as well. Just dive in food first, and you might like it, you might not, and you'll find out.
And improvement, there are lots of things improving about the culture and about the industry, and we're very much in a time where if there are problems that you come across, you can speak up about it and you can talk to people about it, and companies will embrace it and change.
Yeah, I think culture change is a massive thing, and it's so prevalent now, and hopefully continuing to grow. That is about bringing culture to initially into colleges, into universities, and then into the industry, or certainly into companies that are recruiting into it. So absolutely fantastic journey so far, and I imagine we'll probably only see more and more of yourself, hopefully, as a real voice as the journey continues on. And in case anyone at the beginning didn't catch what's the name of the YouTube, let's give it a good chance to visit it or share it with families and friends.
Yeah, so my channel is called Science for Bexy, and yeah, like I said, I've got 65 odd videos all about physics and different curriculum topics, and there's some interesting facts, and some are experiment episodes as well. So got a little bit of everything, and yeah, I just try and communicate the topics in a really fun and interesting way, because I think it's all about how it's communicated. If it, you know, if the stereotype is that physics is boring and it's communicated in a boring way, then it's going to be boring. So look, I'm just trying to jazz it up a bit, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, to anyone that hasn't, definitely should check it out. I tried a couple of videos, and I live with a physics major, and I can certainly say you broke it down a heck of a lot more explainably than he tends to do. So yeah, absolutely, fantastic year. Well done, and thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on board, and hopefully this should be a really kind of positive message. As a young woman in defence, a young woman in STEM, to reach out to those, especially that if you've not got placements already, if you're just finishing university exams, to look into something new and to take a look into the industry. So yeah, thank you very much for interviewing.
Definitely, thank you, Harry.